We're going to get going. We have lots of good stuff to do. It worked out that today's Mishnas that we're going to cover all fit into like one theme. So I'm excited that I can connect them. So the theme would be seeing the good. All right, now.
For one.
What?
Wait a minute.
Can you see that?
What you wanna?
Oh, I'm on the wrong page.
You wanna mute everybody?
Hey, we're on page 54. So what are you guys seeing the good? We're going to see
135.
No.
Sorry. What am I talking about?
Stopped at 140.
135. Okay. So when I talk about seeing the good, I'm not saying that there's not bad.
Oh, no, I was joking.
Okay. But what I'm saying is that seeing the positive sides in others, in our own traits, in our own selves, that's going to be 3 Mishnas today. And we're skipping over one. We'll get back to it next week. So 4-1, 4-3, 4-4, 4-2. If we have time, we'll get back to it at the end of time. All right. So the first question we want to ask before we get going. Okay. So is everybody? Let me actually minimize this. You can feel free to answer at home as well. Anybody here not think that there's a big political divide here in our country? Okay, so I'm not asking what side politically you're on, but I'm asking how can we heal the divide, or is it just unhealable, irreparable? Yeah. Listen. Okay, explain.
So that I think that it's so deep that people have turned off listening. And if you listen to people, you have the opportunity to see what in what they're saying may actually appeal to you or say something that you believe in.
I'm listening. It just doesn't look like it. Okay, so listening to each other, hearing the other side. What else? What other ways? How can we get? We're talking about the political divide in our country. What can we do? What steps can we do?
I think one of the interesting things is that you need to have an understanding of what the process of why are you talking to the other people. If you're just gonna listen with not having an agreement on what to do with what you're listening to, nothing's gonna happen. I think if everyone is on the same page, at least with how things work, and what's the purpose of your particular listening, that might also help.
So finding common ground.
Common ground of why you're doing this in the first place.
Okay.
On the process, more on the process, not the details.
Anybody else have a suggestion? Anybody thought about this? Anybody at home?
I just think we need to be a little civil to each other.
Just be nicer.
Just civil.
What do you mean by that? Just
I think you need to be the way the reactions have been so extreme that it puts people off. You don't hear what people are saying. So if you're civil and polite and you listen, you don't have to agree. And you can make counter arguments, but you need to do it in a civil and polite way.
Yeah.
I think that in any of these instances, that there's a lack of empathy and unwillingness to consider seeing the other point of view. Did you talk about this? So
empathy. That's a little bit different than listening, right?
it's correct.
Yeah.
It's different than listening. It's actually
adds
being
on
able
to
to like put yourself in their position and see it from their point of view, which provides greater insight as to why the other side feels the way that they do. Even if you don't agree with it, you actually can you can visualize why they would agree with it.
Yeah, these are all really good ones. I'm still trying to figure out the common ground. That's finding out
So is the point of arguing whoever's the loudest? Is the point of arguing so that someone will agree with you? Is it that
Like,
whoever shouts the worst thing about the other people wins? So what is the ground rules for having this conversation about whatever the topic is? And what is the process for getting to some kind of solution? Whatever that might be.
process, you both have to agree to that.
Well, I will say this. I think one of the most important things is really hard for people. It's to come into an argument with a viewpoint, listen to someone else's argument, and be willing to change your mind. And I don't think we have that right now, very much.
So
So
That-
that
that a
goes
different-
along with that,
willingness,
slightly different.
willingness to change your mind,
Yeah,
willingness to change.
Yeah, this is Barbara Cohen. I agree with that. I was just gonna say that I read a lot of essays about Rabbi Hauer's impact, and one of the things that struck a lot of people was his willingness to listen and to really, it was like a growth mindset. It's more than just even empathy, the way I took it from it, but it was to grow from hearing the other people and maybe to change a little bit of yourself, in that. And it was really interesting to me just to hear him described in that way, because I could really see how it was kind of unique, in terms of how people usually respond to other people.
I'd like to share something that happened to us a couple of days ago. Noah and I had to attend a funeral in Long Island. My brother-in-law's mother passed away, and it was graveside service. Halachically, totally okay. Matter of fact, Rabbi Jonathan Rosenblatt, who grew up in Baltimore at Beth Villa, was in attendance, okay? And it was a kosher funeral, okay.
Or
The next day, the lady who was buried had 3 sons. One, my brother-in-law, a Baal Tshuva, okay, member of Riverdale Jewish Center. 2 other sons, one married a Catholic, one married a Jewish lady, but, very unaffiliated. Okay. The next day, of course, my brother-in-law sat Shiva, he's sitting Shiva in Riverdale. Okay. Monday, the day after the funeral, the 2 brothers and grandchildren from that side of the family basically celebrated Helene's death by having a party. My brother-in-law was besides himself. I said to him, Rick, take a step back, because yesterday at the funeral, your mother was buried in a plain pine box, according to halacha, and everything was done kosher. Today, your brothers had this party, okay, to celebrate the death of their mother. The truth is, you're upset over that. At the same time, they didn't push back when you insisted that the funeral, that your mother be buried in a plain pine box. So what is the point that I'm trying to make? Beliefs are hard to change in people. Halacha is very important to my brother-in-law. Actually, to his mother, it didn't mean a damn, and to his brothers, it doesn't mean a damn. People have different belief systems, and it's hard to change. But if we can at least hear each other and where we're coming from, that's maybe a step in the right
So
direction.
acknowledging the problem kind of emphasizing the problem and speaking about the solution will be in listening. I'll do two more, and then I want to kind of also learn some Torah too. Continue learning Torah.
A lot of the reason
Right.
we have is.
One
really-
second, Lynn, you go after Ted, okay?
A lot of problems we currently have is really a new situation with social media. And what people need to do, a lot of this is really attempting to get to two people trying to work things out between them. What is needed is really to get accurate information, what the real truth is of the situation. It depends what source.
To break through the inaccurate data, accurate information. That's very true. That's very smart.
People just, they don't talk to each other, they'll listen to the social media. And if they have a group that agrees with them, then they're cemented into that group, whatever their beliefs are.
That's strong, meaning a lot of times we're just fighting over stuff that's not actually,
And
we're not really fighting.
They need to get to they need to get the source of the truth is,
Yeah,
as opposed to.
there's a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings, that we need to overcome. It's very smart, Lynn, and then we're gonna,
So I think if you think about the 1980s and 1990s with Tip O'Neill as Speaker of the House, and there wasn't so much division, I think today people that are supposedly representing us are more selfish and are more thinking about their individual futures in government rather than truly representing the people who are becoming more and more confused by all the rhetoric. And so the question is where is the good in the people that are desiring to serve by being representatives or senators or whatever? I think that's really getting lost in translation.
meaning
People are more selfish than they used to be.
so overcoming our selfishness or our better, more altruistic leadership or.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a whole list here of all good solutions. I want to kind of dig into a solution that could be found in our Mishnah. It's kind of connected to the pieces that were mentioned here. Perhaps it goes a step a little bit further even. So let's take a look at that. This is, again, I said this a few times last time, but this is like one of the best Mishnahs in all Pirkei Avos, I think. I don't know, this is my personal feeling. I just think it really flips things on its head when it says, we talked about this last week, but who is the wise person? Often you say the one who has the PhD, the one who has the degree is the professor. No, it's the one who's willing to learn from everybody. Right? Similarly, who's the Gibor? Who's the strong one? It's the person who has the biggest flex on the internet, or I don't know, the best six pack. No, it's not that. The strongest person is the person who can overcome their Yetzer Hara. We have very strong people in our society, but they're very weak in a lot of other areas when it comes to temptations. We have great, very strong sports players who are held up as idols, but they do horrific acts, horrific, but they have very bad acts. They're not loyal to their spouses and so many things like that. They can't overcome their temptations. So the real sign of a true strong person, according to this, is somebody who can overcome their temptations. It's a beautiful, beautiful perspective. Similarly, who is rich? Who's wealthy? Who's wealthy? Well, we have, you go on TV, you have mansions, you have, lifestyle of the whatever, rich and famous. So that's not the case according to this. The wealthy person is a person who has benefits and enjoys what they have. They're able to really benefit and live in the present moment with the blessings that they have. That's wealth. Okay. It's like the poor people always say about the people who are more wealthy, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't, I feel like that's convenient for someone who's not wealthy to say that. Because I mean, if I had all the riches in the world, I think I have some more happiness than what I have now. But I think that, like, on the other hand, like, you can't have it all, and if you're not happy with it, it can maybe just be a burden, or you're never going to find that satisfaction. You can't predicate it on the wealth. The last thing is who's mechubad, who's honored? The one who honors others. I always appreciate like a professor or a rabbi who can interview other professors or other rabbis. Like they know that they're very smart. They know they have so many things to say. But the fact that they can put themselves in the place of like interviewing somebody else, giving the other person honor, I always appreciate that because that shows that they're humble. They know they have a whole philosophy. Let's watch this whole philosophy series. This guy's a huge philosopher himself. He didn't express any of his philosophy. He was just interviewing others and kind of get to the bottom of their philosophies. That's like a little bit wherever you fall politically, but a little what some of what leads to Joe Rogan's popularity on his Spotify podcast, if you heard of him, is that he's like just willing to engage in conversation with people. He's just makes space for other left, right, wherever you are, make space for your opinions. You don't think so? Part of it, disagree.
I think he makes space for, but tries to then take that space back.
But the fact that he's engaging in conversation, the fact that he has so many different people sit in front of him. All right, so let's leave that example. That's not to be a debate. I'm just saying that the idea that you're able to show honor to other people, that's an honorable person. The opposite of that is somebody who's like zapping up all the honor. You're in a room, that person takes up all the space, all the energy. There's no space for anybody. That's not what it's talking about here. It's talking about making space for others, letting people share your space. You don't have any space. You can take up space, but you give space for others. Let other people have space as well. That's an honorable person. You give honor to others. So that's the flip. This whole is a whole flip on our culture in a way. Okay. So on its own, this Mishnah is pretty awesome. Okay. Now I want to so I had a story here in my book about the title of wise. Okay, someone who learns from others. So you can make a case that this is not always the case. When I started out in yeshiva, my Rebbe asked me to attend class every day. As I progressed and became more comfortable with the text, they encouraged the opposite, more individual learning. So like in the beginning, when I got to yeshiva, you should always have a chavrusa. You should always study with somebody. After a while, then once I figured out some of what was going on, I did some more independent learning because I felt more comfortable. Obviously, you always need to learn in pairs, but it's good. You can, at a certain point, you can learn on your own. So that's what I was saying. They believed I would gain more at that stage from grappling with text on my own. They were correct. Therefore, so it's not that someone who's wise isn't necessarily someone who's always learning from somebody else. I mean, you can amass a lot of wealth by just reading, by just scanning the internet, you can gain a lot of wealth on your own. So it's a lot of knowledge on your own. So it can't only be about learning from others. So what is it? So maybe the Mishnah is not talking about mass knowledge. Instead of speaking about our orientation toward others, the Mishnah guides us to see positive sides in others, what we can learn from each and every person. Okay, so it's saying that a wise person has the openness to learn from others. That's what it's saying. Meaning, like, you can gain wisdom if you're only learning from your perspective. You're not going to be able to really build proper wisdom. You need to like have the openness to hear other views, other sides. It's kind of what you're talking about: the listening, some of the empathy, perhaps putting yourself in the place of others. The Mishnah refers to this as wise because it's the truth. We often live in the bubble of delusional thinking, right? As we mature, we realize that things aren't so simple. We realize the truth, that we have a lot to learn from everyone. The more we are aware of the truth, the wiser we will be. Okay, so the idea is that there's truth. The truth is that everybody has something to teach. And this Mishnah is telling us that we should be open to hearing that thing. Okay, so that's like the commentary I put here. I want to dig a little bit deeper into this though. What? So, but before we do that, there's two points I want to note. This Mishnah talks about the flip, what I was talking about, but there's other Mishnahs which don't flip it. They say it's good to have honor. It's good to have wealth, actual wealth. They say it's good to have wisdom, like actual wisdom, not just learning from others, amassed wisdom. So it says here, this is in Pirkei Avot, chapter 6, Mishnah 8. You can find it in here. This Mishnah is the opposite. It says, I'll tell you what page it's on. Page 261. It's the opposite. Here it says, I have it here on the page, on the screen also. It says, Rabbi Shimon said, in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Bar Yochai, beauty, strength, riches, honor, wisdom, old age, gray hair. I have a few of these. Maybe some gray hair. And children are becoming to the righteous and becoming to the world. Meaning, these are positive things to have these traits, not just as these spiritualized traits, but actual wealth, actual wisdom, actual riches, strength, meaning not just as we reinterpreted it. And there's another text which says this as well. Rabbi Yochanan said, the Holy One, blessed be, rests his divine presence upon the one who's mighty, wealthy, wise, and humble. Okay? And these are wise, wealthy, mighty, actual might. Okay, so how do you make sense of these Mishnas? I don't think it conflicts. I think you have to have the proper orientation. You have to have the humility. You have to what our Mishnah is talking about: proper humility, proper gratitude for what you have. And once you have that, then you can enjoy all the other things. You have to have the proper orientation. If you have the proper orientation, you can have wealth, you can have this, you can have all the good things, but it won't take you astray. I think that's how you can reconcile the two strands, the two Mishnas. That makes sense. But the piece I want to talk about is the idea of cancel culture. Okay, so and I wrote, this is an entry from my Parsha book that hopefully you'll publish eventually. This is a preview. So this is talking about, I talked about this once in shul too. Yosef and his brothers. Yosef and his brothers, they didn't get along, put it lightly. Okay, the brothers. I'm not gonna say it's the first. Rabbi Sachs does this sometimes. Like the first thing in history, he like does that. The Jewish people were the first ones in history of the world. So I'm not gonna say that. But it was an early cancel culture experience. Like it's the first one. But the brothers, Yosef had an opinion. The brothers had an approach, right? And what did the brothers do with Yosef's opinion? They canceled him. They tried to get rid of him. They tried to remove him from the picture. Yosef had an approach to how things should be. Cook speaks about this. Yosef had a different opinion than his brothers. He had different approaches. They didn't like his dreams. They didn't like his orientation. They felt a lot of feelings towards him. So what do? They try to get rid of him. They try to cancel him, remove him from the picture. I think we do that a lot today in our society. It's like someone you don't agree with somebody. Immediately you just try to throw them in a pit. Try to get rid of them as much as you can. Try to remove them from the picture. They originally wanted to kill him. Right, to get rid of him. But Hashem was not okay with that. Right? Hashem swung it back. Hashem brought the brothers back. Hashem made them do teshuvah. And then Hashem wanted to warn Am Yisrael for generations to not do that. How did Hashem do that? Yosef really commanded the family to bring his bones up from Egypt after he died. It's a very weird thing. Why is that such a big thing? Before he died, that was like one of his main things he said. Don't leave my bones in Egypt. So I think that what it's saying is that Am Yisrael, how they traveled through the desert for a while, traveled the desert for 40 years. Maybe he wanted them to continuously carry him with them from place to place. To remember that you can't just dismiss or throw somebody in a pit. You have to figure out how to carry them with you. We have to live with each other. We can't just cancel each other out. So they carried his bones. Where did they carry his bones to? They carried his bones all the way to Shechem. That's where they originally tried to throw him in a pit. And they buried him there. He's buried there till today. They buried him in the very place where they tried to cancel him. So they placed him as a memorial, as a memorial where they would have to go visit. And the message is that we can't cancel each other out. And the way that we do this is through learning from each other. And this will bring us to another Mishnah. The way we do this, I think, beyond even a step beyond, we're going to see another Mishnah is going to complement this. This one is about seeing the good in others, not canceling. Another Mishnah is going to teach us that we have to learn from the good that other people have. Yes, it's also empathy. It's also hearing the other side, but it's also seeing what we can take. So it's kind of mentioned by Barbara mentioned by Rabbi Hauer, idea of like seeing what we can take. Everybody has something to give us. I know it sounds funny, like even the other side. They may not be speaking in a balanced way. They may be speaking things that you think are kind of crazy. But on a certain level, there's always a value you can find there that you can understand, that you can make space for in your head. You may not agree with how they're applying it or implementing it, but there's something there that you can grab. You might not be able to grab all of it, but there's something. Rav Kook, yeah.
What about if you disagree with what they're saying? You're saying make space for it in your head. You're having a conversation with somebody and someone says something. And you could take it any number of ways.
You have to think of like
today's crazy world, some people could take something someone said inflammatory.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying, when
you
you
could,
say make space for it
Yeah.
in your.
so you can make, there's certain things that I imagine that don't fit into this, like anti-Semitism, like make space for the anti-Semitism in your head. You know,
How about if you just
so I'm not talking about like extreme things like that, but there are like, I don't know, like, I don't want to get too political, I guess, like, I'm trying to think of something that'd be more I don't know, but yeah.
How about if it wasn't making space, the space is.
I'm not even saying
finding
making space, I'm saying that you can see the good, I see an aspect of good.
But finding a common ground that you both carry.
Or seeing that there's a value that they're fighting for that you agree with in some capacity, you just don't agree how they're implementing it. That makes sense. Like, I don't know, like in that, let's take the immigration debate, okay? So there's different sides. One side says that they want to secure borders. What's the value there? The value there is that we want to be safe. We want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our identity. Okay, you may say they're doing it the wrong way. There's a certain value there. The other side says we don't want people, I guess, to want to be able to have a community that brings people in, that's open, that has more flexibility with. So you may say, I don't agree with how they're doing that, but aside to that would be that they have an openness. You could say we have to do it in a fully legal way. We have to put things in a place that would make it happen, that we can have secure borders, but still. But there's might be an element there that you could see in the other side that where they're coming from, and with that piece, maybe you can make more place in your heart for them. That makes sense. You don't have to agree with them, but able to see a value. You can't.
I mean, I guess it depends on whom you're speaking with. I was at a Pacifica, a wedding after Shabbos. And I'm having a nice talk with some nice Italian lady from New York who's married to somebody, this, that, and the other.
He said after some.
And she was.
I did that.
And she, I don't know how we got on it, but I think we started having a little kibitz about, just about the mayor's race, and I was very good. I was like King Solomon on steroids. There's nothing better for silence, but there was no dialogue. I just let her talk, and she just went trope after trope after trope about, giving me numbers about how many people are is how many children, and she's using her magic words, the G word, and this and that, and I just sat there and I'm like, there's not out of the Simpson, but there's nothing I'm going to say to this lady to change her mind on any.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I said, Rabbi? I said,
but I'm not
"Point you a lot
speaking-
of Mazel."
I guess what I'm saying is, like, I'm not speaking about the other people. I'm speaking about what we can do, like
Sure.
what I can do, how I can. So if each of us do it. I mean, that's a very idealistic approach, but I'm saying if each of us do it, we have to do our part in terms of not feeding the divide. That makes sense. So in our heads and our hearts, trying to see where the other person might be coming, what value they might be speaking from. We might not agree with how they're.
She's entitled to her opinion.
Yeah,
Absolutely, I'm entitled to mine.
I hear that.
It's like what you see with Sugar is at UC Berkeley, and they were having some Charlie Kirk little get together, and some protesters, whomever group they might be affiliated with, were completely freaking Meshuggah. Angry, very angry, and demonstrably angry.
But their Meshuggah is your Meshuggah.
What's that?
Their Meshuggah is your Meshuggah on the other side, but
See the good.
I do.
All right. Let's take a step back because I don't want it to get too heated up, although it's fun that way. But okay.
But that's
So yeah. Who's speaking?
Rabbi. That is a keep on line.
Hi.
You can appreciate Charlie Kirk's way of debate. That's the good in him, whether you like him or not. His style of debate.
I don't want to delve into a specific example because there's just but I think that there's thinking this for years, for decades. I think this, and I still think it. I think you can see the good. Rav Kook speaks about this a lot. I still think you can see elements of good in the other side. You can see values that people are speaking from, even if you think they're exaggerating to the nth degree. You don't have to always sit and listen to the view, but the idea is that you can see beyond some of the imbalance that you might view there being there, and being able to tap into some element of good. So let's take a look at the next Mishnah 1 second. So this Mishnah, I think, is saying minimally, it's saying, let's talk about a lot of pieces here. But I think it's the idea of being able to learn from others, is being able to be, is not just, it's about overcoming a divide by being open to learn from others, being able to hear the other side, perhaps being able to take something good or see something good. So this Mishnah here, I'm going to skip over this Mishnah, and go straight to Mishnah 4:3. Okay, so let's read the Mishnah. Second. Let's take a look at this Mishnah and just try to understand what it says. Second. Okay. Here's the Mishnah. He used to say, "Do not despise any person." This is Rabbi Ben Azai. Okay? He used to say, "Do not despise any person, and do not discriminate against anything. For there's no person that has not their hour, and no thing that has not its place." So before you go into my comment, I have four commentaries to this. I have two that I want to lean into. Before we do that, like, what's the simple reading of this? Like, what's it saying us? Just without thinking about it too much. Like, what is the message? What do you think the message is? Yeah.
That you don't know the reasons behind people's behaviors, and everyone kind of has their stuff.
So how do you see the stuff here?
How do you see it?
Yeah, like where's it mentioned, like people's stuff?
There's no person that has not their hour.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
No, I'm asking. Yeah, you can interpret it. It's open. It's open.
Everybody has their reasons for their behaviors.
I mean, everyone has their bad hour.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, that's great.
Bad hour.
They're bad moments. I've never heard that explanation before. That's great. So what's the other one? Everyone has its place. Nothing has not, meaning everything has its place. It's a weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything has its hour, everything has its place. Meaning they might have just been really bad in one place or something like that. They might have had like some location that they didn't do good in, didn't do well in. I don't know. You could be like speaking for an organization, APAC, Momentum, whatever it is. And you might not have you might not have the best speaking night in some location. Is that how you read it, kind of?
I'm kind of reading almost as like, well, yeah, but and there's a reason behind it, right? Like, I might have been off that night speaking to a crowd because maybe I was in a car accident earlier before, right? And like my mind was elsewhere, or someone behaves badly. And the way that I'm interpreting it is like, you never know the kind of day that somebody had. Like, somebody could be having a really tough day, and like maybe they lash out at somebody.
Correct.
And you shouldn't take that personally because you have no idea where they're.
We're very careful also to fit it into the words. So how do you fit that into the words? I think it's an awesome explanation. I want to understand it a little bit more. So, for there's no person that doesn't have their hour, their hour of bad behavior.
Yeah.
That's a brand new interpretation. I like that interpretation a lot. Right? Everybody has that moment where they're off. Don't judge them based on that moment. You know, every player has a bad night, has an off night. I remember once seeing an interview with Kobe Bryant after he couldn't like get a shot off, and the whole game was like, he said, I sucked. I stunk tonight. And I said it like maybe worse language. Like, just like I was horrible tonight. Like, there's no excuse. You have a bad night, you have an off night. Don't judge someone by the off night. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Well, one moment. Remind me your first name again. Remind me your first name again. Alex. Yeah.
So the way I understand is you give other people the benefit of the doubt, because when you have an off day, you would want other people to give you the benefit of the
So you're
doubt.
both in the same opinion at this. That's awesome. Okay. Who else? Sherry, I saw your hand. And then Lynn, you're gonna say something after Sherry, okay?
Or just because there's one thing about someone that's made off, don't put them, don't categorize, don't pigeonhole them, that everything about them is something that doesn't appeal to you.
Wow. I like, this is great because you're all leaning into this interpretation I never heard before. So it's great. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, 3 weeks. I see Lynn on don't go that far.
Well, now we know your shortcoming.
Ugh, it's not his best night. It's okay. It's not his best night. Lynn, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I'd rather take it in a different direction
Okay.
that is a little less negative.
Okay.
That everybody has their gifts. Everyone has what they're good at or what they feel that they're good at, and when they're able to share that, it's a unique gift that they got from God or that they developed within themselves, and that overshadows any lack that people might have in another area.
You
And
might despise somebody, but know that they have their hour. Know that they have their place. The things that they have things that they're good at. They have a
Right.
good hour. They have, Yeah.
and to not despise people if maybe what you value is not the same as what they're good at. So it's also reevaluating what you value.
Okay. Sherry, I saw you're gonna, oh, you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it. Okay, so those are awesome interpretations. I want to kind of explore another interpretation here. Here's the Rav Kook piece that I think complements the other. Rav Kook mentions this Mishnah in this source. Basically, he says something like this. He's like, well, first I'm gonna give you two interpretations that I just thought of off the top. They're not about the negative, they're more the positive approach. Don't ever discriminate against anybody because you actually don't know who you're talking to. What I mean by that, like, I don't know most of the time who I'm talking to. Like, as a rabbi, in any room I'm in, most of the time, I'm one of the more knowledgeable people in Torah, right? In our community or whatever. It's my job. But like, it's funny when I go to people in my community's workplaces. I'm like, whoa, this person, like, when they sit in my classes, it's like they're simple in some ways because like they're just gathering knowledge. But when I go to their workplaces, I'm like always amazed by like how special these people are. Like they know so much more than me. I just started teaching in the middle school at Beth Tefillah. It's like I used to walk the hallways and like I say hi to people. I didn't know like the extent of what they're doing. Like now that I'm a first year middle school teacher, I'm in awe of these other middle school teachers who are like been doing it for 15, 20 years. They're experts, you don't know, like you're walking around a lot of experts. We have PhDs, we have amazing business people in this community, doctors, like you go to their line of work and they're like incredibly impressive people. Like, so everybody you don't know, be careful how you're viewing people because everybody has their place. Like they may not be the biggest genius in your place, but in their place, they do stand out. And so know that, like, be careful who you're talking to. Okay, there's that. Another one is like, be careful about that because and this is more like a utilitarian one, but I'm not espousing this one. This is the way to read it. You don't know like who you're talking. Be careful who you're talking to because you don't know. Everybody has. You might need somebody at one time. This is more of like a political one, but like, always be nice to people. I don't know, like, that's it. I don't know. That's not really my worldview, so I don't really connect to that. But I'm just saying, like, you never know. Always be nice to people for the right reasons, okay? But you actually never know when you might need somebody, and so always try to be nice. But I don't really connect to that. But I think that's a way to read it.
What do you call it, utilitarian?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Like,
that's a great ethos. Be nice to people.
For what? Be nice.
Everything. You
Correct.
walk outside,
I agree. I think you should be.
Told the door.
No, I think you should be nice to people. But the way I was explaining is like you be nice to them because you might need them at one point. Okay, it's the way to read it. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not very passionate about it. Okay, I'm just sharing it. Okay, so I think but politically, it's always supposed to be nice. It's smart to be nice to everybody.
One word I haven't heard anybody use yet is respect.
And I think that that is something that underlies what's going on in this Mishnah as well as the one before. You know, when we were talking about the political divide, there's always been political divide. That's why in national elections, the two major parties each get approximately half of the votes. There's clearly a divide. There always has been, it's likely that there will be. But the difference is the loss of respect for other people, the unwillingness to listen, all the things that people have already said. But
Yeah.
that respect is really
Mhm.
a cornerstone that we need to get back to, in my opinion.
So I'm gonna add on. I feel like I'm hearing myself. Yeah, I might have to mute you. Thank you. So what I'm gonna add here onto this is based on the first Mishnah, which is not canceling, which is kind of what we're all agreeing on, which I think actually it's not so simple to say. I think that Mishnah is saying you have to honor everybody, see the good in everybody, learn from everybody. It's about not canceling others, okay? But how do you do that? I think this Mishnah complements it by saying that you have to see that everybody has something good to give. Be able to learn from everybody, not just be empathetic, but try to see what you can learn from somebody. So Rav Kook says this. He says all thoughts are rational. It's kind of difficult language, but it's only 3 paragraphs. So they are bound together in a systematic connection. Even those you recognize only as a glimmer of an idea, if we probe well after their root, we find they are drawn from the source of reason. For such is the nature of thought. Okay, consequently, we know that there's no thought in the world that is null. There's nothing that has no place. For all of them issue from the source of wisdom, meaning everything has an aspect of good because it comes from Hashem. Now, that good might be masking a lot of bad. But if you can unravel the good that's there, you can take away all the husks and beyond the externalities, you can find an aspect of good in another person, and that can be a way for you to connect with them, even if they're on the other side. So it's a hard job to do. I think I can do it in anything. If give me you can challenge me. I can give you. Rav Kook did it with the Amalek. I know it sounds crazy. Amalek. He says Amalek. There's a midrash, and Amalek is the biggest enemy of Am Yisrael. We're supposed to wipe them out. So it says, and he says in the Torah, it says you wipe them out from under the heaven. It goes from under the heaven you wipe them out, but above heaven there might be like a supernal source. I'm not saying that we should not wipe them out. You should. But I'm just saying there's an aspect there that you could see a positive side. So he says there's a midrash which speaks about Haman, the sons of Haman, who were Amalek, they ended up teaching Torah in Am Yisrael. There, I guess there was some sort of conversion or whatever. So in everything you can find an aspect of good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't fight against the bad. You might have to wipe out the individual because the bad overcomes the good. But I'm just saying in terms of our attitude, you can maybe see an aspect of good in other people. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. If we're able to do that, we'll be able to have less of a divide, I think. Is try to find aspects of good in each other. But not denying that there's bad. There could be a lot of bad. It'd be horrible. There's things that are unkosher, right? There's the chazir, the pig, right? The midrash says in the future the pig will return to be kosher. That's why the words chazir, atid lachzor, it's going to be kosher. I'm not going to eat it then, but it'll return to be kosher. Right? I don't eat meat, but the vegans will return to be meat eaters. No, but that doesn't say that. God forbid. That's the thing I can't see as good. That's joking. But in everything you can find an aspect of good. So like, there's some sources just talk about the unkosher foods. They say that an unkosher food is asur. It's a kabbalistic approach. Asur means bound up. The good is bound up within the bad, and it's so much bad that it's unkosher. But there could be some good aspects there as well. Even an unkosher food sounds kind of crazy. That's why there's potential for the pig to return in the future to be kosher. There's a lot of views that have really. Rav Kook did this with every view. Rav Kook took Spinoza's philosophy. He took Kant's philosophy. He took Descartes. He took Hegel's philosophy. He took all these philosophical approaches, and he found the good. He said, of course, he says we have to. Spinoza's approach is heresy, whatever. But he said there's an aspect there that's good in Spinoza's thought. There's an aspect, and so the idea of being able to see an aspect of good in something else before you completely cancel it, it's a hard job to do. But if you can do it, it can create a little bit of a connection between you and the other person. So it can be their thought. It could just be who they are as a person. They could be a person who has a family like you, similarities. There's aspects that you can find that are good. So I think that's what it's saying here. Like everybody has their place. Everybody has their hour. Don't be able to see that everybody has aspects that are good. And so that's that. Okay, another, so that's why I think could be, not just, it'd be also be with seeing, political divide could be healed, in addition to this, be able to see the aspect of good. That's what I would add. And learning from it even, if you can. Does this resonate, or are you looking at me like, yeah, this doesn't make sense? Yeah, okay. Good that Ed's not listening right now.
No, no.
Okay, okay. Okay, I thought you were canceling me on you. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, that's my whole spiel on that. Here's another spiel, kind of connected, kind of not, okay? This is about seeing the good, not just in others, seeing the good in yourself, seeing the good in your traits, okay? And that's actually what I wrote about in the book. Okay, so a lot of times, so I wrote about this, take a look at that. This is page 130, 130, what is it? 139. There you go. Okay. So I spoke about this on this page here. When I was in high school, I wasn't Orthodox at the time, and I was looking for truth. I was looking for meaning. And when I wasn't playing video games. So, but I was also looking for meaning and purpose, and like it was a tough year. 11th grade and 12th grade were tough for me because I went I went to private school growing up through 9th grade to Talmud Schechter in Philadelphia, and then I went to Kibbutz Hebrew Day School through 9th grade, and then I went to public school because I wanted to like hang out with my soccer non-Jewish friends, and so I went to public school. It's so interesting because I left my Jewish bubble, and then I actually felt kind of lost. I wanted to be lost. I wanted to get lost. I wanted to be exposed to new things. But then I felt like I didn't know who I was because it was all being done automatically for me before. At that point, I had to like really search. Like I had all these options now. Like what do I really think? What do I really believe? And it caused like a big crisis. Like in 11th and 12th grade, it was like a kind of blurry for me because I was looking for something, searching. So I went to all these went to self-help groups. I had a friend a family member was in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. So I kind of read their texts. It was like the 12 steps. I thought that could be like a valuable guide. It speaks about attributes and self-help. I did like some meditate. I did like a bunch of stuff. So at that time, I was reading these self-help books, and they spoke a lot about like defining your attributes and defining your shortcomings. And find your shortcomings, stay away from your shortcomings. Find your attributes, and then strengthen them. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that, but I always felt a little discomfort. I didn't know why. I was a young kid. I didn't know why, but I found out later with this like binary of attributes versus shortcomings. Because in some ways, shortcomings can be attributes, and attributes can be shortcomings. Right? Like you can be an angry person. Anger's bad. Is it bad always? Let's say you're angry about something that's anti-Semitism. You're angry about some sort of movement that's very bad. You're angry against an injustice. That's good. Giving to others is a great thing. That's an attribute. Is it if you're giving to somebody who's taking advantage of you? Is that an attribute? Right. So every attribute and every shortcoming can have a side that's good and that's bad. And so I think that this Mishnah might be speaking about a little bit more of a less binary approach to that. And it's saying something like this. It's saying that like you can have an attribute, something that's good, but you have to apply it in the right way. You have to know everything has its place and everything has its hour. Everything that you do has its hour to be used and has its place to be used. If you do it that way, you're doing the right thing. So you have anger is bad in the wrong hour. If you're in the middle of a conversation with somebody that you're just welcoming somebody to our shul and you're angry at them, that's not the right hour. Okay. Now, if somebody's doing something wrong in the shul, like really bad, I don't know, like, and you stand up against it and you're angry about that, that is the right hour, right? Similarly, you can bring a lot of examples of this. Everything has its place, right? Sometimes you'd be doing something that it's just not the right place for it. I don't know, like if our kids we're in adult conversation, they're coming and they're I don't know, that's not a good example, but like sometimes kids stuff is not the right time to do it in adult settings, and adult stuff not the right things to do in kid settings. I don't know. I'll give you an example. I could teach an academic level, but if I come to the middle school class, I'm teaching on that level, it's not the right place. Is it bad? It's not bad. It's not the right place. So it's really thinking about like, sometimes we'll view ourselves as like failures in certain areas, but really we're not, it's because our traits aren't being channeled in the right way. I'll give you an example. I brought in the book. There was someone I was in yeshiva with who was not the best student. I was in teaching teachers college with in my undergrad. And he was a very nice guy. Like we chatted and stuff. He kind of like borrowed my notes or whatever. Like he wasn't the best student, whatever. He's a nice guy, really nice guy. If you viewed him as a student, you view him as not the best student. That wasn't his place. What was his place? I speak about it. He became like a very big, important chazan. Okay, a good chazan, and his name's Yoni Rose. No, it's not. No, it's not. He's joking. But no, I'm joking. But Yoni's a smart guy. But he's a good student here. But like his place was not in the base midrash. His place was in that role as being a singer. And so you have to really find the right place for your abilities. If you're applying them in the wrong place, it might not work out. If it's in the right place, it is the right thing. So it's not just for traits, it's for your intuitions, it's for your inclinations, right? I don't know. I wrote about, someone wanted to hear about this. I wrote about this on a previous entry where like I had a time when I was working in real estate. Okay. Now I think that wasn't my place. Okay. How do I know that? Because a client of mine told me that. What are you doing here? You should be a teacher or an educator. That's what one of the people told me. And they were right. I wasn't the vibe. It wasn't like fitting for my personality. Now somebody's a really good real estate agent, a good real estate tycoon, and then they're trying to, and they're not an academic, but they're just staying in the academic world. That might not be their place, right? So we have to find everything has its place, meaning every good trait has to be channeled in the right place. I think that's what the Mishnah might be talking about. So don't if you see yourself as not a success in one area, it doesn't mean you can't be a success in another area. And so it's really finding the place, the hour that's fitting for you. So that's kind of what I talked about here with channeling your character traits. Let's read that together. Am I sharing my screen? One second. Okay. In many places, Rabbi Cook discussed the idea that failure in one area is due to a lack of proper channeling of one's positive traits. I had a friend who just I wrote about this here. Somebody's skill is one thing, but when asked to do another, they don't have the proper skill to succeed. When they apply their skills properly, they see themselves flourish. Our mission teaches us that we should be very careful before we despise or discriminate against anyone or anything. Okay, don't discriminate against yourself thinking that you can't succeed because you're not succeeding in one area. You might not be channeling your traits the right way. That's the discrimination part. That's the despising part. Oh, I can't succeed. I don't know. You're forcing. So he says there, a shortcoming in one area may be an improperly channeled attribute. This is the idea that there is no thing that does not have its place. On the surface, something may seem completely bad. We look a bit deeper, we discover that it may just be in the wrong place. I'll give you another example from I'm bringing a lot of examples from my past, but so I really like learning Gemara. I like learning Talmud. I like learning Jewish law. And I think my strength in some capacity is like in Jewish thought. And so I didn't have anybody tell me that when I was in yeshiva. They said, here, you're in yeshiva, sit 13 hours a day. I learn Gemara. Learn Gemara all day. You wake up in the morning, yeshiva schedules, you wake up in the morning, 8, you daven till you go to breakfast, get up 8:30, you go 8:30 till 1 o'clock, you learn Talmud. You get a break, you come back 2:30 or 3. Some people come back later, whatever, but you go till 5:30 or so until dinner. Get dinner, get a break, come back 7 o'clock till like 11 o'clock, learn Talmud. Okay, so there's different ways to learn Talmud. You can learn Talmud in depth. You can learn Talmud with breadth, Bekius, Be'iyun. At a certain point, though, I couldn't keep it up. Like it was not my strength. Like it wasn't like my strength. Now, I really like learning Torah. Thank God I have that inclination. Like I can like learn. That's something I like to do. That's my passion. It's something I like to do. So I knew I liked to learn, but I knew that something was off with like how I was learning. but I didn't have anyone to really tell me that. So so Rav Kook wrote about this a bunch, and that was helpful for me. And at a certain point, I just like said, I got to do what I have to do. I have to learn the things I like to learn. And I saw myself like grow and flourish that way. And so like in between the Gemara, I would learn different books, and I started learning Jewish thought and Rav Kook and Maimonides, and at one point I was like learning Spinoza in the library, but that's a whole other story. But like, yeah, threw that in there. I had a point where I was like trying to learn some general philosophy as well, because I was interested in it at the Gush, Gush Yeshiva. But like, I didn't have anybody tell me that, but I intuitively I felt that that was right. And I think that's kind of what Rav Kook's saying. Like, I think if I would have just stayed in the cookie cutter system, I never would have brought out sides of myself that were supposed to be brought out. I would might have felt like I was like not a success, like I wasn't good, like I wasn't doing well. Once I found out like what I was passionate about, what I was good at, I put my energy there, and then I found myself flourishing and succeeding, and I kept going with doing degrees in that. So I'm talking about my own life example. I'm saying like everybody has those things that they're good at, and if you're not applying in which they're good, if you're not applying that trait in the right place, you might feel like you're just banging your head against the wall, and you're not succeeding or flourishing. Yeah.
Well, and the other piece of it is that you not compare yourself to someone else who's good at other things, because that's, you should be good. You should feel good about what you're good at.
Yeah. So that's, is he fitting that into the Mishnah? Or you're just saying overall?
Well, I think it sort of fits in the finding good, but with the individual is accepting yourself, the good in yourself.
Don't despise don't despise yourself. Don't discriminate against yourself. Don't discriminate against your gifts.
Right.
I don't know. Like there's all kinds of cases where like somebody like, I don't know, like they have self-loathing in some capacity, but they find out that thing that they didn't like is actually good, but they were told that it was bad or something. Yeah, there's all kinds of examples like that. I don't know. Somebody grew up in like a very sheltered community, and they were told that certain things that they were doing were bad, but they found out later on that like in other cultures and other settings, societies, it's an okay thing. So it's like really being at peace. Don't despise parts of yourself. Try to figure out what they are, what they're there for, how you can channel them to good, like where you can find space for them, make space for them. So those are two Mishnahs. We did the first one was it was like what is wise, what is smart, and we zoned in there on honor. On learning from others. We zoned in on that. And I think that the ability to learn from others might be, in addition to all these great solutions, might be another solution to the political divide. Not only listening or making space, but also kind of trying to see the good and perhaps taking the good from others. I think that's why this Mishnah complements it, because it's saying before that, not the before this last explanation I gave, the one previous to that is like being able to see, not discriminate against anybody, because everybody has some good in them, like Rav Kook spoke about. Now, the last piece I highlighted here is like not just the good in others, the political divide, but in ourselves, trying to figure out the good in ourselves and like trying to see the right place for that. Because sometimes if you just view yourself on another place where you're not succeeding, that's not the full picture. It's really trying to figure out where the right place is for the sides of yourself, the good sides. We all have a lot of good things in us. Trying to figure out where they're supposed to be placed and how to use them. And that's really like, there's the two sides of the coin, seeing good in others and seeing good in ourselves. And through that, hopefully we'll be more positive people and be able to kind of connect to it, be nicer to each other as well. So those are two pieces. There's one more Mishnah that connects to this, but we'll do that next time. All right, so that's 4:1 and 4:3.